Let's kick off our evening with a delicious cocktail to take you through the night. Psycho chef Akash Shah is a cocktail enthusiast who has been honing his craft through culinary history blog. Inspired by the idea that good and drink unite people, Akash has brought his world together by crafting cocktails with a desi twist. This evening, Akash is joining us from Los Angeles to teach us how to make an Ayurvedic penicillin and our very own Diwali essay cocktail, Puro Pataka.
Namaste and welcome to Diwali San Antonio's annual Diwali celebration. My name is Akash. Today we'll be making some fun and easy cocktails using some very basic and simple ingredients that you probably already have in your home. And we really want to embody the Puro San Antonio spirit here. A little bit more about myself. I was born in India, raised in New Jersey, and now live in Los Angeles. My passion for craft cocktails and mixology started about 12 years ago when I had my first old-fashioned when I was living in Atlanta at the time. Since then, I've only been inspired to learn more about craft cocktails and mixology, and not only to learn about them, but able to recreate them and to create my own unique recipes that I will be sharing with you today. So thank you for joining on this journey, and well, let's get started with our first drink. So the first drink we'll be making today is the Ayurvedic penicillin. It's a variation on the modern classic, the penicillin cocktail. The penicillin cocktail was invented by a bartender named Sam Ross at a famous bar in New York City called Milk and Honey. That cocktail spread like wildfire. Anywhere in the world you go, any craft cocktail bar, any mixology bar, you will be able to find this drink. And it's a very simple but a classic recipe. It incorporates scotch, it incorporates fresh lemon juice, a honey syrup, and a ginger syrup. For the Ayurvedic penicillin, we brought in some other ingredients that will only complement and pair perfectly with the earthiness of the scotch, the freshness of the ginger syrup, and the nuttiness of the honey syrup. We're gonna get started with our honey syrup. The honey syrup that I'm using, I've infused it with some clove and fresh cardamom pods, and I let it steep for at least 2 or 3 days so that flavor really marinates and it just brings it home. Along with the honey syrup, we're gonna use fresh ginger instead of ginger syrup. The fresh ginger is going to bring out a little bit of that spicy and earthy flavor that's going to balance really well with the smoky scotch. Finally, we're going to finish it off with a little bit of turmeric and black pepper. The turmeric, looking back in Ayurvedic and Indian sciences, it has a lot of health benefits. And so when you're making a cocktail called a penicillin, which is named after a famous medicine, why not use turmeric and bring in those health benefits? Some might even say this is the unofficial cure to COVID-19. What I'm using today for the Ayurvedic penicillin is what's known as a classic Boston shaker. 2 components, a smaller pint glass or a smaller tumbler and a larger tumbler. What this does is really allow the ice and rest of the ingredients to mix up really well and incorporate some air and give us a well-balanced, well-crafted, uniform drink. So every sip you have in the final drink is going to taste the same. So that's the importance of a good cocktail shaker. The other thing to note is we want to make sure we have really good ice. So I'm using, if you can see, slightly larger cubes of ice. The ice that you're getting from your fridge works well, but it'll dilute faster. So want to make sure that we use slightly larger chunks of ice. That way it dilutes just the right amount and gets your drink nice and cold. And lastly, we're gonna serve this drink in a classic old-fashioned glass. A classic old-fashioned glass, or a whiskey glass, you might know as, is a little bit lower. We're gonna serve this on the rocks. So we're gonna keep this ready in just a minute, but let's get started with the drink. So in my cocktail shaker, I'm gonna get started with 2 slices of ginger. Now I cut them slightly thick, so just think of 2 quarters stacked on top of each other. You can add a little bit more ginger if you want, if you like that spicy gingery flavor. To this, we're gonna add 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder. Doesn't need to be a heaping teaspoon or a heaping 4th teaspoon, just enough to really incorporate the flavors. And to this, we're gonna add just a small pinch of black pepper. Now, why black pepper? Black pepper, one, will work really well with the honey and cardamom syrup that we've been steeping for hours. It's gonna pair perfectly well with the smokiness of the scotch, and really it's gonna help activate some of the health benefits from turmeric that otherwise would not get activated. So just a small pinch will go a long way. All right, from here, we're just gonna add 3/4 ounce of our honey cardamom syrup. And don't worry if any of the pods or any of the seeds get in. Just 3/4 ounce of the honey cardamom syrup. All right. Be very careful. We want to make sure we measure out all of our ingredients. Part of having a well-balanced cocktail is making sure that we have the ingredients at the right proportions. All right, now we're just going to gently muddle. I'm using a classic bar spoon that has a small muddler on the end of it. You can also use a wooden spoon, the flat end of a wooden spoon, to muddle here. And what we're really looking to do when we're muddling, we're not being harsh or aggressive with this. We're just going to be gentle but firm. We're really looking to bring out some of the juices from the ginger and really just mix in the honey and the turmeric with the juices from the ginger. So just be very gentle but firm. Make sure that we're not splashing anywhere. Turmeric will stain your countertops or your dining table wherever you're making this drink. So very gently, very softly, we're just going to muddle it. All right. And don't worry, we're not looking to make it into a pulp. Just gently muddle. To this, we're gonna add 3/4 ounce of fresh lemon juice. All right, fresh lemon juice. It's gonna work really well here. Just pour it right in. All right, here comes the fun stuff. To this, we're gonna add 2 ounces of a blended Scotch whiskey. I'm using Monkey Shoulder. It's a blended Scotch whiskey from the Speyside region of Scotland. Works really well here, perfectly smoky, perfectly nutty. So 2 ounces of this for all the Johnnie Walker Black Label lovers here. That works perfectly well as well. 2 ounces of that. All right, to this, we're gonna add about 1/2 cup of ice. Now, again, I'm using slightly larger ice cubes here, just to make sure that there's more ice than the liquids in the glass. All right, we're gonna cover this up. Make sure it's properly sealed. We don't want any of the turmeric or any of the lemon juice going everywhere. Turmeric, again, will stain your countertops, your table, so want to be very, very careful. All right, and what we're looking to do when we're shaking, right? First, we want to hear the ice crack against each other. The cracking of the ice really signifies that everything is being mixed well. If you're hearing the slushy sound, that means that the ice is melting too much and you're gonna have a more watered down drink. So that's what we want to avoid. The other thing we're looking for is we're looking for the frost on the outside of the glass. That means the drink is perfectly chilled and it's at the right temperature. And we're gonna shake this for about 12 seconds. All right. So as you can see, the top part of my cocktail shaker is nice and clear, but the bottom is nice and frosty. That's when we know that it's perfectly shaken, it's perfectly chilled, and now we're ready to serve. All right, so before I open this up, I'm gonna prep my glass. All right, again, I'm using an old-fashioned glass. To this, I'm gonna add just a round ice spear. You can use a larger ice cube if you want. We're gonna do a process what's called double straining. All right, what that means is we're gonna first use our cocktail strainer. This is a Hawthorne strainer. We're using that, and then we're gonna strain it through a fine mesh strainer. Typically, Desi households, you would use this to strain tea. So we're gonna just double strain it just to make sure that we catch any black pepper bits, any turmeric lumps that might still be there, pulp from the ginger, any pulp from the lemon juice. Wanna make sure that none of it gets through. Just get all the freshness out of here. All right. To finish it off, we're gonna use an Islay Scotch. Islay Scotch is a smoky, peaty Scotch from the Islay region of Scotland. We're just gonna use 1/2 ounce and we're just gonna float it right on top. All right, so just very simple. You can, if you don't have a jigger, you can just use about 1/4 teaspoon of this Islay Scotch. All right, and if you don't even have Islay Scotch, you can use a smoky mezcal, and if you don't have it, it's perfectly fine, but it really just brings this cocktail home. And then finally, we're gonna finish this off with a lemon twist, a classic lemon twist. So just using a vegetable peeler, peeling a very thin slice of the lemon peel right on top, and then just gently twisting it to really bring out the lemon oils and express the citrus notes, and just letting it sit on the side. So cheers. Here is the Ayurvedic penicillin. The next drink we'll be making today is the Puro Pataka. The Puro Pataka not only embodies the spirit of San Antonio, but brings home a very classic Prohibition era cocktail called the Bee's Knees cocktail. The Bee's Knees cocktail is traditionally made with gin. Now, the gin that was used in the Prohibition era in the late 1800s, early 1900s was not the same quality, the same crafted gin that we get today. There was no government body regulating it. People were making it in their bathtubs and kitchen sinks. And because of that, the flavor was all over the place. A lot of harshness, a lot of nasty ingredients, and just a lot of burn and bite as you drink it. So fresh lemon juice and honey was used to mask those nasty flavors. So in our version today, we're gonna take the gin out, we're gonna bring in tequila because why not Texas? And we're gonna infuse it with some fresh jalapeno, use our honey cardamom syrup that we've made and steeped for a few days, and then we're gonna finish it off with some fresh lemon juice. All right, for the Puro Pataka, we're gonna need 2 slices of jalapeno or serrano. I'm using 2 because I like a little bit of heat. You can do less if you prefer, or you can remove it altogether if you want. All right, to this, we're gonna add 3/4 ounce of fresh lemon juice again. 3/4 ounce of fresh lemon juice. And to this, we're gonna add 3/4 ounce of our honey and cardamom syrup. Honey and cardamom syrup, 3/4 ounce here. Want a well-balanced, well-crafted drink. Again, jiggers are very important here. And don't worry if you get any cardamom pods or seeds in here either. It's just gonna add a lot of flavor, and we're gonna double strain it again. And now we're just gonna gently muddle here, all right? We wanna really just bring out some flavors again from the jalapeno. So just holding the muddler down, pushing it down gently. And I'm not gonna go too aggressive. I'm just doing maybe 3 or 4 gentle muddles here, and that's it. And it's okay if a few seeds got in, just gonna bring out some extra heat. Again, we'll double strain later, so don't worry about it. All right. And to this, we're gonna add 2 ounces of tequila. 2 ounces of tequila. You can use aged tequila. I'm using a unaged clear tequila. You can use a reposado, something darker if you really like that flavor. Classic recipe calls for gin. You can use a rum, a light rum, or you can even use a vodka if you really prefer. But because we're in Texas today, we're gonna stick with tequila. 2 ounces of tequila. Very carefully, again, just making sure that we're balancing it out and measuring everything properly. 2 ounces of tequila. To this, we're gonna add another 1/2 cup of ice. I'm just gonna do a couple of large cubes here. All right, top it with my cocktail shaker, making sure it's fully sealed. We're gonna shake this again for about 8 to 10 seconds, making sure that we're hearing the ice cracking up against each other, and we're looking for the tin to get nice and frosty on the outside. So give it a good shake for, again, 10 seconds. All right, nice and frosty, nice and cold, perfectly where we want it. We're gonna serve this in a cocktail glass or a coupe glass. This is a very classic, very traditional cocktail glass. It looks very similar to a martini or a margarita glass, but it's a little bit smaller. This one is particularly 4 to 5 ounces, and the drink that we made is roughly 3.5 ounces, and then we dilute it a little bit, so it's gonna sit perfectly well. We don't need anything more than this. We're not gonna serve this on the rocks, so just, again, double strain very carefully. Wanna make sure that we're not getting any of the seeds from the jalapeno. We're not getting any cardamom seeds, or if there's any pulp from the lemon juice, we're making sure that none of that gets through. Double straining. All right. Just put this to the side. To finish this off, we're just gonna garnish with a slice of jalapeno. I'm just gonna let it sit on the side. Just cut a really small slice and then a small slit to let it sit on the side. And then finally, again, a lemon twist. A just very simple, gentle lemon twist using a vegetable peeler. Twisting it and rubbing it around the rim and just sitting it right next to the jalapeno, right off the side there. And cheers, guys. Here is the Puro Pataka. Enjoy. Thank you so much and happy Diwali, San Antonio. We wish you prosperity and health as we move forward into the next year. I look forward to seeing you in one of our virtual cocktail classes very soon. Thank you, Diwali, San Antonio, for organizing this. Have yourselves a good night. Please stay safe, and we'll talk to you very soon.